What up? What up? What up? It's Ibn Webb, Karan the Sum here. Official Thanksgiving going down here. This wish list of mine, keep getting at it just a little bit here. Gerard Fryer, cool dude here. Like I said, just knowing of him, like we never really got to meet when I was a youngin here. I mean, he had me by a couple of years or what have you here, but just seeing, how he moved and everything else, it was just like, all right, like, he holds it down. He does his thing here, or what have you here. Orange, East Orange, what have you here. Like I said, this is just an honor just to get him on. A pleasure. I'm pausing because again, I'm just trying to think of all the words here, just to describe not only the feeling as far as doing this, but just having an opportunity to hear about Gerard's walk, and we're just gonna rock from there. Hold tight. No, we good money. We good money, man. Peace. How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. Happy to be here, man.
Man, who you telling? Who you definitely telling here, man? Like I said, I know we talked behind the scenes and all this prior to doing this. Like, thank you so much, like I said, for just doing this. This is, like I said, a joy, just yourself and everybody else that just kind of just shared a little bit of their walk or what have you, man. So this is an honor, man. So thank you for just squeezing some time in for me.
I appreciate you having me, brother. This is an honor for me, because like I said, you got some legends up here, man. To be amongst that group, it's like, I had to get over the initial shock first,
That's cool, man. That's cool. Now, with everything even being said, man, I know Jersey and seen parts of the world or United States or what have you here, man. But just where you from originally? Born as far as you born East Orange or Orange?
Now, born and raised Orange Memorial, bro.
Okay.
1971, man.
Yeah. Crazy you mentioned that. I was just down that way. My sister actually don't live too far from there as far as that goes here, man. So it's just crazy to go over there, just see the hospital, like just condemned everything else here. Like, damn, like the city can't do anything. The state, somebody step in, whether you're gonna rebuild this hospital or do something with that. It was such a landmark, and people such as yourself and countless others, arrived in this world from there. So it's just crazy to just ride past it and just see how that looks.
That somebody dropped the ball on that, man. And I mean, you need a hospital close, you know what I mean? That could have turned into a trauma center after, after so many years, because they had so much room. They even had the orthopedic side, everything, man. And it was crazy when that closed down. A lot of people was out of work.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Now people from Orange got to go to either East Orange General, or if it's that serious, they got to hope they make it to university in time, life. So that was crazy, man.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And again, just seeing Orange throughout the years, obviously me being born and raised there, it's just interesting some of the transitions and things that are going on here, whether it's political or something else here. But it's interesting just to see like what has come here. And it's crazy when I was down that way too, like the whole what's that Parkway and everything else. They slapping all these apartments up here. So I'm guessing folks from New York taking the train and living in these new so-called luxury apartments and everything here. So I'm hoping it's benefiting Orange in some way.
I hope so, man. I have no idea on that side, you know what I mean? But I know somebody eating.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When it's all, yep. No, you're right about that, man. You mentioned being an Orange here household. One of one as far as siblings, or you have it's a crew of y'all, or what?
I'm the last of five, yo. Well, my father, I got one brother, two brothers that was in Florida. One passed away. Rest in peace, Harold. And my brother Kurt, he grew up in Fort Lauderdale. But in the household, it was me, Mike, rest in peace, John, and my two sisters, Cynthia and Ronnie.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody came through the Orange school system.
Yeah. How was it for you? Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a sec, man. But early on though, how was it? You're saying the house of siblings and just being a kid, late 70s, 80s here, man. Just how was it for you?
It was cool, man. As long as I kept my nose clean, and they knew my passion and my love for basketball. So long as I stayed on that, you know, it was cool, man. You know, I was a young boy, so you know, I did what young boys do. We had mischief, and you understand what I'm saying? You know, wasn't nothing never involved like police involved, like getting locked up at a young age and none of that stuff. But you know, they always tell me I was bad as hell because I was the youngest.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know,
And y'all usually get
that's
away with stuff too, because the parents be tired by then. By the time to get to that youngest one, they're like, you know what, I'm gonna let him slide. I've seen this movie a few times here.
shit, not Lila. Lila ain't play no games. You fired, player.
Hmm.
You know, and you, pops wasn't there, so she played, you know, both roles. I mean, he was in my life, but she played all the roles, so she whooped ass and everything, yo. You know what I mean? She
Okay.
ain't care what if she seen this.
And then you mentioned basketball here was as far as activity wise, and then particularly sports. Was that your first sport that you played? I know people usually play around the way from football to everything else here. Then sometimes with the basketball players, they eventually end up over there. But was basketball a go for me right from the beginning?
You know, it was because my brother, you know, he the one put the ball in my hands because he played for Orange, you know, all 4 years, and you know they followed the winning tradition that started. You understand what I'm saying? So it was like, and then it was crazy because like back in the day, Orange had like a preschool in Orange High. So he would come get me, and I was always in the gym with them, whether it was practice, games, you know what I mean? So that was it. You know, I tried other stuff later on, but you know, like I bowled, you know what I mean? Because my pops and my mother bowled. So, you know, that was cool too. I was decent in bowling. You know, I probably had like a 160, 170 average at a young age.
Mm,
You know, and it's crazy because I had met Keith Roberts in the bowling alley.
that's right, Keith Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, our pops bowled together. So, you know, I never knew he played ball. He didn't know I played ball until, you know, we wound up seeing each other in the park. You know what I mean? Then I tried football my sophomore year. It was decent. You know, I was able to. That was my first time ever playing organized football, and you know, my little ass played tight end because it was a need for it. You know what I mean? Because Cass was ineligible, Cass was getting hurt, so I slid in and wound up starting like the last 3 or 4 games. So you know, I tried that. It was cool, but you know, basketball is over everything. Was over everything.
Mm. And then even being around the way as far as Orange here, I know you had Friendship House, your father Rossi, and then you had youth games was floating around. I know any and everybody, whether it was East Orange, excuse me, I think it was East Orange and Newark were the two spots people usually did with the whole youth games thing here. Like any of that stuff you got involved with?
I actually was an alternate bowling in youth games. You know what I mean? Basketball, I didn't play because it was like youth games was in the summertime, and I wasn't leaving the league at the Friendship House. You know what I mean? Or the park leagues, because you know Colgate was my backyard, so I wasn't leaving that. Them leagues, them games, man, you wouldn't believe it. I'm telling you,
Mm.
it was like at a young age. You know what I mean? So it was real intense. It was a lot of competition. You know, but I wasn't leaving that.
Mm. Now, interesting. You mentioned Colgate and even being young. Being young, I know you guys, especially in the summertime, moved around and just played different parks. Whether it was Colgate, whether it was Metcalf, Central, and I mean, those leagues, and you guys got around a little bit with those leagues, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because it was crazy. Because my mom's, you know, she basically worked day and night. So in the morning when she would go to her day job, you know, I was at Colgate from that time until my brother would get there. I would be there from 8 o'clock in the morning, sometimes to 10 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? So that was like second home, basically.
Hmm. And you figure Colgate that you got the pool too. I mean, so you did a little bit of everything there.
everything. We went on field trips. It was fun back then. You know what I mean? It wasn't just me being there playing ball all day. I was other people there that I went to school with. So I basically ate breakfast, lunch there.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Went on trips and everything. So, that was part of my childhood I'll never forget. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it was like I was working 12 hours a day there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, how much ball did you play as a kid? I mean, once you started playing, was it around the clock or?
Every day.
Yeah.
Like, because even like on Saturdays we would be at the park, man, because that's what we did. You know what I mean? It wasn't nothing else to do.
Hmm.
Then on Sunday, older cats, my brother and them, they would be out there playing. So, I would be down there with them. But it was like 7 days a week. Then in the wintertime, we had the Y. They started YBA. They had different age groups for YBA. Mr. Summers started that. And that was cool too. You know what I mean? Because we would start out doing drills, and then everybody was on the team. But while we was doing drills, we was doing everything together. Then your team might play the red shirt team, and situations like that. And the older cats would be at the other end, like Reg Miller and all of them would be at the other end doing the same thing. So it was cool, man.
Now, how
It was like
crazy?
all year.
Oh yeah, even being at the Y, just how I don't know about you, but just me, just with these leagues or summer leagues and getting these T-shirts, man. I held on to some T-shirts forever, man.
I did until it came a time where it was like I got to let go. You know what I mean? Held on to it forever. Wear them to school. You know what I mean? Wear them for gym, because that was like that's where the team atmosphere started at. You know what I mean? Like working together and all that. So I held on to it forever though. Till it came a time where I outgrew them, and I'm like, I guess I gotta let it go. But if I knew what I knew now, they would have followed me everywhere. I just held on to them.
Hmm. Yeah, and then even being an orange, so eventually you get the orange high here. Just how was that experience? Obviously, from orange middle to orange high. Did you going in there any expectations? Like I know since you saying you was playing ball, like as far as to be playing at whether freshman, JV, varsity expectations. Once you got there.
Well, my freshman year, I played JV, and I really wanted to play freshman because we had a deep team. We had just lost in the eighth grade tournament, like in the semifinals. So, if we'd have had Elevator Boy playing with us, we might have won it. He wanted to play with the East Orange squad, but that's it's cool. They won it all too. But coming into high school, it was a little adjustment. You know what I mean? Especially playing with cats that are older. I always played with older. Like I played with my brother when I could. You know what I mean? When they would allow me to play with them. And that's where I learned how to play with older cats. Because if I wanted to be out there, I had to play. What I
Mm-hmm.
mean? They see the little joke out there. Of course, they going right to post me up, and what I mean. They ain't take no shorts on me. You know what I mean? If you're gonna be out here, you're gonna play, bro. You're gonna deal with what comes with playing with us out here. But it was an adjustment because that's the park, and then you switching to organized ball. You got to learn these plays. You know what I mean? You got to know where you fit in at. You got to figure out where you fit in at. You got to figure out what the coach is expecting of you and everything. So it was a little adjustment, but I had a good freshman year. Like I played JV, and I never forget. I was averaging like 19 on JV my
Mm-hmm.
freshman year. That was a good year.
Can I ask? I know I didn't go to Orange, but even when you got there, I know the freshman coach at Orange from that I knew, Mr. Hammond. Was he around? If you remember that name, I don't even know if you remember Mr. Hammond.
Aaron Hammond, yeah, the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was the freshman coach then. I'm thinking it was either Mr. White, Greg White, or I can't remember who it was, but I don't think it was Hammond then. I think he came later on.
Okay.
The JV coach was we used to call him Jim Bob or Be Strong. that was rest in peace, Jimmy Caraway. That was our JV coach, and he was he did his thing at Orange where he played. So I learned a lot from him because he seen something in me, and like it was a time where I had a couple bad games in a row, and like after practice, I'm getting ready to go get dressed, and he like, nah, bro, you need to get this together. You can't keep having, it's going to become a habit. You have this is what he told me. It's going to become a habit. You having bad games, so nah, you gonna stay here till I'm ready to go.
Mm. Mm.
But I mean, so that was my man though, Jimmy Caraway.
Yeah. Nah, with that 19, like right off the rip, freshman year, playing JV here, man, wasn't no call up into usually sometimes freshmen or somebody get that call up, even if you just sit in varsity, you get no call up.
Yeah, I was sitting the varsity bench. I got in a few games, but I wasn't. I ain't contributed nothing. I got in sometimes. It was a couple times people got hurt, or sometimes one time these a few cats got suspended. They couldn't play a game, so I might have got a few minutes that game, but it wasn't nothing significant.
Mm. And then even when it's all said and done, I know you stay there freshman year, then I know sophomore year, some things went on here. Let's just clear the air here. Some people say you jumped ship, you went over to Scott. Some people say you couldn't take the heat. And Orange saying like too many heads was there. Gerard ain't gonna get no burns, so that's why he bailed. I mean, like, what happened?
And the crazy thing, man, it was like the season started. I started off slow, but as the season progressed, what I mean, he started seeing that I was getting back into the rhythm. So I was getting a little time, but then I got hurt one day in practice. I hurt my knee. And like me and John was just talking about this, John was the one guarding me. And I went to make a move and he heard something pop. I just know I felt a bunch of pain. You know what I mean? He was standing there and they yelling at him like, yo, get the ball. Because I just dropped the ball and everything. But that happened. And then it was like, I didn't know what was wrong with my knee. On you back then, you go to the emergency room, you take some x-rays. They ain't see no broken bones. They send you home. So now I'm trying to do everything on my own to get back to playing. I'm trying to icy hot it or whatever. I'm wrapping it up. I'm wearing knee braces and everything, and nothing works. So
Yeah, you did no Epsom salt. You did no Epsom salt in the tub, did you?
No, what I mean? That was my mom's. My mom's is from Blakely, Georgia. She ain't know nothing about, no knee injuries and nothing. So she like, man, go put some alcohol on your knee. You be all right. You know what I mean? But it wasn't like that. So, I was basically sitting out. I tried to come back, and then they seen, like, when I was trying to play in games, I was dragging my leg, and, so I had to sit. Basically, it was like, come on, man, you're going to mess your knee up even more. But then there came a time where Thompson called me in his office, and, he was telling me, yo, you need to go find a doctor for your knee. And I'm looking at him like, I need to go find one. You've been the coach how many years? You know what I mean? You ain't gonna recommend me one or help me out or nothing. So, in the midst of that conversation, he was like, yo, I need your uniforms.
Mm.
I'm like, huh? I need your uniforms. So I'm like, 14, 15 years old. You know what I mean? I can't go against no grown man. So I just gave him my stuff. And what it was, Mike Boyd became eligible. So he took my stuff and gave it to Mike. You know what I mean? And it is, you got cats on the bench who don't even play. You understand what I'm saying? You got cats on the bench that's just there. One of them was there because their mama was on the board of education. You know what I mean? So, but when he did that, it was like, it like hurt me to my soul. Like, you just pushed me to the side. Like, you know what I mean? I ain't got no use. You can't help me, so I ain't got no use for you. And don't get me wrong, if Mike is eligible, Mike's supposed to be on that court. You know what I'm saying? And there was never a problem with Mike. My problem was with Thompson. Because now, I didn't know it back then, but it's a trust issue. You understand what I'm saying? So when he took my stuff, it was like, wow. And it's like he never explained nothing to nobody. My brother came up there to talk to him Because, basically, with no father in the house, my older brother, that was part his role. You understand what I'm saying? He was a big brother and like a father, you know what I'm talking about? But he came up there to talk to him. He ain't had nothing to say to him. It's like he couldn't stop practice. Like you don't have assistant coaches that could help team run drills. And then when I think back, when he was talking to me, he never looked at me when he was saying stuff. So he knew it was some bullshit. You know what I'm talking about? He never called my moms to talk to her, explain to her what happened. Nobody. So it was like I felt like he just, threw me in the garbage and kept it moving. You know what I mean? So that's really what happened. So then as time going on, like that year's going on, I'm like, man, I'm not playing for this dude ever again in life. So, me, I seen Mr. Tynes one day and I said something to him and he basically brushed me off like, yeah, all right, man. Cause I told him I wanted to come over there. But he knew the lineage, you know what I mean? Cause he went to school with my brother and my older sister. You know what I mean? Him and my brother always been cool. But then when I talked to my brother, he seen him. He was like, yo, Greg, he's serious, man. He don't want to play for dude no more. So then that happened, you know what I mean? So he that's what basically got the ball rolling, you know what I mean? So then there was rumors and everybody hearing I'm leaving, going to Scott, you know what I mean? Then the summertime, like I said, the Friendship House at Father Rossi, we had the leagues. We were playing that league. We were playing Elmwood. And I'm playing all summer long, not knowing I'm playing on the torn ACL. Mm. So it was a conversation. We had just lost in the championship. It was me, John Robinson. I can't remember who else was on that team, but we lost in the championship. So we just chilling back at the projects after the game, talking and everything. Now he wanted to talk. So my brother came and got me, was like, yo, Al want to talk to us. So I'm like, all right. So he basically did all the talking. I was just standing there and he pleading his case now because he seen me playing all summer. Oh, you ain't got to go. I heard you leaving, woo, woo, and all this other stuff. And I'm saying to myself, now you want to talk months later, you know what I mean? Basketball season been over. We in July and August now, you know what I mean? Now you want to have a conversation. So like I said, him and my brother was talking. Then after we finished that conversation, my brother was like, yo, what you gonna do? I basically told him I meant what I said. I'm never playing for him again. Because if I stay here, well, who's to say he just ain't gonna bury me on the bench? Because, he got an attitude because I was ready to leave and go to Scott. You know what I mean? So that's what happened. You know what I mean? After that, I was like, nah. But it was crazy because I almost didn't make it to Scott. You know what I mean? Because my mom, she loved basketball. She loved the fact that we played, but her main thing was getting that diploma. You know what I mean? So, she was basically like, I ain't heard nothing from Greg Tynes or nobody. Y'all keep coming to me, telling me all this, that, and the other. So he finally talked to her, and she was still on the fence. You know what I mean? She was still like, man, I don't know about this, bro, for real. Because how you going to get there? I'm like, I walk there. It ain't that far. This is that and the other. We had a couple conversations, but she still was on the fence. Then it was crazy because my man, my brother to this day, Corey Brown, when he heard, because we always been cool. He told me, he was like, yo, man, you might as well come on play with us. He wound up calling my mother. And I'm like, I didn't even know he talked to her. I don't know what he said to her because I wasn't even around when the conversation happened. But I don't know what he said to her, but that's what pushed her to the other side. Like, all right, you can go now. You know what I mean? So that's how it happened, man. It was crazy because, like I said, I didn't know back then, but it was like I had a trust issue with dude. You know what I mean? I wasn't feeling, and I knew that next year it was going to be a powerhouse. You know what I mean? I knew what they had coming back, and I was supposed to be a part of that. You know what I mean? Whether I knew I wasn't, I knew what the situation was going to be. I knew I was probably going to have to come off the bench if I was healthy, but I ain't mind. Shit, I just wanted to play and win. You know what I mean? And I knew it was going to be a lot of winning going on because it was deep. Al, John, Mike, Jay Hurt. You know what I mean? You got Pookie, Greg Shelton. You know what I mean? So I did. what's my man name? I forgot. I can't think his name right now. But I knew they was deep, but I knew I was gonna play if healthy, because I knew I could play. You understand what I'm saying? So I knew I was gonna fit in somewhere. So, oh, my man Nick Powell. You know what I mean? He was part of that squad too. So it was
Yeah, that's
like,
the year they only lost one game that year.
yeah,
The
one game.
Shabazz in the county finals.
Yeah, and that was a good game, man. I was there for that one. You know what I mean? But I knew what was going to happen. I knew what was coming back. But like I said, I couldn't take that risk. Just him being, because he was a different dude, man. You know what I mean? I don't want to get into all that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like bagging, but he was a different dude. So I just didn't trust the fact that I would stay there and still play. You know what I mean? So I wound up leaving, and that was why.
How was your boys
Um,
when you bounced? I mean, because again, that could have went either way as well too.
yeah, they
Uh,
felt.
they did.
I came up with these guys, man. You know what I mean? Since elementary school, and we always played against each other because everybody went to different schools. You know what I mean? Like me and John went to Park Avenue, but Mike and Al and everybody else, they was across town, so they went to different schools. But then we knew when it was time to play together, that's what it was going to be. But I just found out recently, like certain cats, like because they come to the shop, we meet up here, and we do what we do. We smoke, smoke cigars, have a couple drinks, talk our shit, reminisce. You know what I mean? And I found out a couple cats told me, like, I felt some type of way. They understood, but they felt some type of way when I left. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I was supposed to be a part of all that. My lineage come from Orange. You know what I mean? That's all I knew from my brother. Because even after he left and went to the Army, you know what I mean? I was still riding on the bus with Mr. Blake, and his best friend, Hameen, made sure I was Stanley Smith. He made sure I was all right when he played. And Mr. Blake ain't mine, you know what I mean? Because he figured, he was going to be coaching me sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's basically all I knew was Orange basketball. And that's, like I said, that hurt my soul when dude took my uniform, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Because it ain't, what I mean? Nowadays, they just order another one. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know what the budget was back then or nothing like that, but that,
Before I, yeah, before I sort of switch over to Scott here, as far as the whole Scott situation, I know you just shared about your boys here. Did you ever have were you ever coached in the summer or just even around with Atari?
yeah, I played for Atari my freshman and sophomore year. Even the year I got hurt. You know what
Okay.
I mean? I played with Orange until, I finally transferred. We played in Elmwood.
Mm.
Atari was intense, man.
Yeah.
And but you learn from Hatari, you know what I'm talking about? Because his voice was high, he would yell, but then he would come back and talk to you like, yo, listen, man, I see something in you. Just listen to what I'm trying to tell you. Don't listen to the how the message is being delivered. Listen to the message. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was cool too, because we was real competitive in Elmwood.
Mm-hmm. Nah, great man, and I know a lot of players from Orange think highly of him. So that's why I wanted to ask if you had a chance to play with him.
Yeah, he was a good dude, man, and
Yes.
he is a good dude. So I said, well, he's back then it was just like because I never knew of him until he coached us in the summer league. You know what I mean? But then I got the dome and I was like, he look out for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
make sure you all right. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was an experience.
So you get over to Scott here. I mean, obviously, cat's out the bag. Probably. I mean, I guess you got an auntie or uncle that lives somewhere in East Orange. Is that accurate to say?
Statute of limitations is up now, so it's like my mother's best friend lived right around the corner on Eli. She ain't had no problem with it. The only thing was my mother made me go ask her instead of, her being the one that, ask could I use her address. And it was on from there,
Let me
you
ask
know.
real quick with that. like it sounds like everybody knew you was heading to Scott. Everybody knew damn well you didn't live in East Orange, even though you did get that address. Like it was no heat or anything. I mean, just from board of eds or nobody. It was just kind of like this is what it is.
That's what it is. You know, back then, you know, that I wasn't the only one that
Oh
did
no, I
that.
know
You
that. Oh,
understand
no,
what I
of
mean?
course, I know that. I know that.
It wasn't never no problem. You know what I mean? Nobody never threatened to call, like, you know, NJSIA, whatever that it is. Nobody called the schools, nothing. It was like my decision. So I'm gone now.
Now, boys at Scott, they welcome you with open arms, or they like, he from Orange. We're gonna deal with him a little different.
Nah, it was because I always knew, like I said, me and Corey always been cool because his family was from Orange. You know, I played with his cousin Doug my freshman year, and I always knew him from seeing him around. That just made our bond, even tighter. I always knew Ray Haas, like I said, from playing the summer leagues and going to Wasessa and going to Columbia, going to Salvo to play ball. I always knew them. We was always, it was always respectful because, I was still an Orange cat, you know what I mean? But when I got there, it was like the only person I really didn't know was Marquise. But then when I got there and he found that I was there, it was like, you know, this is my man, you know what I mean? And he here now. And it's crazy because me, Derek Bobbitt, and Brian Taylor all transferred in at the same time, our junior year. I think D-Bob came from university. Brian came from Seton Hall. I came from Orange. So, it was like, now I got a new set of brothers. I still got my brothers over there because I'm still seeing them, you know, while I'm home or even on weekends and stuff. You know what I mean? I didn't always go to East Orange, and when I wanted something to do, I was still going around the projects. I was still going to eat Sunday dinner at Mike house. You know what I'm talking about? He would come to my house on some Sundays, so I still had that bond with them. They understood what it was, but like I said, they still felt some type of way.
So that junior year at Scott, how was that? How was that season for you, if you could recall?
It was another season cut short because I got hurt again. Like it was Christmas tournament, and it was crazy because Marquise was hurt at the beginning of the year. He ain't play, like he had surgery on his foot, so he ain't play like maybe the first 2 games. Then we all start playing together. We played like about 3 or 4 games together. Then we was playing Montclair down in Essex County in the Christmas tournament, and I got hurt again, same knee. Like I said, I was playing on the torn ACL and didn't know it. And the only reason I found out, because as soon as it happened, Coach Tynes being who he is, he jumped right into action. You know what I mean? He went and he told my moms, look, take him to this doctor. We got to find out what's going on with his knee. I went to see an orthopedic doctor. It was like in Kearney or North Arlington, somewhere over that way, because I ain't never heard of them spots until, I went over there. So, and that started the process of me finding out that I had a torn ACL. And, the doctor, he wanted to do the reconstruction right then and there. But if he would have did that, I would have missed my senior season. And I'm like, yo, I'm saying to my moms and Coach Tynes, we got to figure something out because I can't sit out. I'm trying to get to school where she ain't got to come out her pocket. You know what I mean? She already hustling, working 2 jobs to keep a roof over our head. So we got to figure something out. You know what I mean? Then come to find out, they all, put their brains together. I guess the doctor came up with, I'm gonna do a scope, clean everything out, and I'm gonna fit him for a brace. So then I had to, they put a cast on my leg. They came to the school, put a cast on my leg for a couple periods, and that's how they fitted me for the brace. Then I had the big Sean Elliott joint, so that was that. But I still sat out the rest of the year. Mr. Tynes was, he was like, nah, you just get ready for next year. And that's
Now,
basically what I did.
even that little example with Coach Tynes there, even being a teenager, you could probably still tell, like, damn, this is like night and day, just as far as he just jumped into action, found the resources versus like, nah, Gerald, let me get that jersey.
Yeah, nah, he, And it was crazy because when I got hurt the second time, it was like, it was a lot of mental. You understand? So that's when I figured out basketball is a big percentage of mental as it is physical. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, man, I'm half coming to school. I'm not coming to practice. You understand what I'm saying? He's seen that. So, now it's time to sit me down in the office, like, and he basically told me, like, bro, I don't care if you don't play for me never again, but you gotta come to school, man. You gotta get an education. You know what I mean? Or you're gonna wind up, with nothing in the streets. You know what I mean? So that I know I always give him that props and always felt like, I owed him a lot for doing that. Cause he didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? As you see the first time, you know what I mean? But that wasn't him. You know what I mean? He wanted to see more out of all of us, not just me, all of us. You know what I mean? He wanted us to go to school to play ball on the next level, whether it was D1 to D3. He just wanted us to keep progressing. So, after the talk, I got back on my game. I'm back, on going to school on the regular practice, going to games and stuff like that, just being a part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Now,
So
how
it
was
was a
that?
games like
The Scott Orange game, I can remember.
mm-hmm.
I can remember vividly because I'm in middle school though. This is that one big year they had your junior year here. Just like Scott Orange. I mean, standing room only. If you don't get there early, you're not getting a seat. You ain't getting in the gym. So I know, at least initially, that probably touched you a little different. Just like, damn, I'm not playing in this game and everything else here because I know that those are big games. You figure J. Rob, Al, rest in peace. But Marquise, everybody there, man. Like TV3, I believe, probably had one of the games, I'm sure. But that had to be tough.
It was, man. It's crazy because the first time we played them was at Orange. And I went to him asking him, like, yo, could I get dressed? He said, hell no. Because, he'd be so caught. He told me, he said, I'd be so caught up in the game that I put you in because you on the bench and dress. You know what I mean? So I understood, but it just felt crazy coming in there. Now I'm in the visitors' locker room. I'm at the other end of the gym on the visitors' bench. And I'm in this gym where I took gym at. You know what I mean? I seen my brother and them win championships at, and it was crazy because my brother used to always take me to like tournament games and stuff, and it was like the Pony Classic, and Kevin Walls was there. You remember Kevin Walls from Camden. They played the New York team, and the next game was an Orange and Scott game. So it was like I'm in the gym, it's packed. You got all these Big East coaches, John Thompson, Boeheim, Massimino, all these coaches in there, and I'm sitting here looking around like, damn. And my brother was like, yeah, suck it up, because you up next, bro. And that's what I was looking forward to, you know what I mean? And it was just crazy. But, life goes on, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Would you do that? I mean, obviously, once the season, how did you rehab? I mean, the physical part was there, but mentally, you already talked about it, man. Just some of those struggles. You figure you teenager, man. We know, scientifically, brains aren't developed and all. We impulsive, we reactive, crazy. So, like, who was your support system like back then, man? Because that had to be crazy. I know this is the second time this happens to you, so you could easily be like, man, the hell with all of this.
And, it was, of course it was my family. Like, you know, I even had my sisters telling me like, yo, bro, you gotta do what you gotta do to get back. We don't quit around here. You know what I mean? We don't give up. Then I got my brothers, like ex-teammates. I call them my older brothers, like the Reg Masons, Roy Crooms. And Roy Croom is the reason I was able to go to 5-star and prep stars and stuff like that. So, that's what kept me going. You know what I mean? Because they knew it was an injury. So, just get back. You young, get back in there and do what you do.
Hmm. And you did that. I mean, as far as the summer leading up to your seniors, so it's playing in Elmwood, is still playing in the summer leagues and everything here, getting ready. So how you looking into senior year, man? Like I said, I know Marquise, a few of them don't left, but you got some dogs still with you, man. Like, so how was it?
it was I seen what was going to happen, like all of us seen that, what I mean, because it's crazy, because even after the season, we always did stuff together. You understand what I'm saying? We would, whether we was playing ball, even that summer going into my senior year. It's crazy because my mom's had bought a brand new car, right? So she had the old cars just sitting there. I had my permit. My man Haas had his license, so we would take the car and just be we going to round up the troops. Me, Haas, Corey, Ray, uh, Corey older brother, because he had his license. We in this big 77 Park Ave. We all over the place. We down Ellis Ave and Irvington playing. We in Bloomfield playing. We always did something together. Even after we finished playing, it was like whatever we was doing, I was doing it with them. You understand what I'm saying? So that helped a lot. You know what I mean? And coming into the season, we was just like, yo, let's go get it. Because we knew what we had. You know what I mean? We had, I think, 7 seniors. Me, Corey, Ray, Haas, D-Bob, Brian, Derek Johnson transferred in our senior year, and yeah, we had 7 seniors, but we had some young cats that could have went anywhere else and started. I'm talking about the Keefs, the Cecils, they had Mika Wilson, Ice, Jermaine Mathis, what I mean? We had Steve Burns. He came from Patterson. So we was deep. And I'm talking about them young cats kept us on our toes, man.
Yeah, they wanted your spot. They wanted your spot. Yeah.
It did. Because my junior year when I got hurt, Keith was a freshman. He was getting a lot of time that year. So, I'm quite sure it was a lot of expectations for him too, that coming into the next year. But they wasn't playing no games. It was a lot of times, because we was in I think the Northern Hills Conference and the Lakelands and West Milfords. Some of our scrimmages at practice was better than the games. You know what I mean? But that kept us sharp, and that kept us where, as though when we seen them type of teams, we're gonna go do what we're gonna do, get them out the way. Now is they turn, let them play. You know what I mean?
I gotta ask before you jump more to that season here, Coach Tynes, did he have to ever give y'all reminders like how nice he was?
Oh man, I think a lot of people knew because they heard, but I seen him at a young age. I ain't seen him in high school because I was about 3, 4 years old. I don't remember him then, but I seen him when they had the adult summer leagues. And I'm talking about Ib. It was like he was out there killing, and it was like some effortless. Like it looked like he didn't break a sweat. You know what I mean? And end of the game, he got 30 plus. You know what I'm talking about? So I was able to see that, and I knew it. But shit, there was certain days in practice where he would like emulate the other star on the team or something like that, and he be giving it to us, man. You know what I mean? Then he looking at us like, y'all gonna let so and so do this to y'all tomorrow or whatever. We like, shit, so and so ain't you. You know what I mean? At that, he had to be in like his 30s or whatever. But he would come out there and do what he wanted to, basically. You know what I mean? That was the reminder.
Yeah. Now y'all get going that season again. Christmas tournament, all this other stuff here. Do you guys are y'all winning right away as far as any like losses y'all shouldn't have had? I mean, how was it going early on for y'all that year?
We played in the Christmas tournament. We started off, undefeated. We played Patterson Eastside in the championship of the Christmas tournament. That was the introduction to young James Scott. But that was the introduction to him. And it was a tight game. We lost by like maybe 2 or 3 points. But it was like, it seemed like every game we lost, we didn't all play good. You understand what I'm saying? Because we had the team where as though we didn't have that cat that we knew was going to go out and get 20, 25 a game. we knew Ray was going to get about 15 boards. We knew Haas was going to get about 12, 13 boards. But other than that, we all had to play good together. You know, I mean, that's what got us over the hump a lot of times because we all played good together. You know, what I mean, we had that camaraderie. You know what I mean? So you know, we lost to them. Then we went on a little run. Then we played Essex Catholic again because we played them the first game of the season at Scott.
Mm-hmm.
We beat. Then we went to their gym. Another game where we all didn't play good together. You know, we was down like at one time we was down double digits, like going into the fourth quarter. And Brian Taylor came off the bench and just went nuts. You hear me? He brought us back in the game, but then we still wound up losing by like three or 4 points. You know
That
what I mean?
was Samar and all of them.
Lance Andrews.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the rest of them cats, but Spank was gone. And the other cat Dennis, they was gone. But they still had a good team.
Let me ask, I know with a couple of them L's along the way here, you did get some get back and the results of like a 80-point victory against former high school here. I mean, I know they say don't kick nobody when they down, but hey, I mean some things happen.
That was crazy because Cleon told me yo tell Ib don't bring that up, yo. But you know, Orange, you know, thinking back on it, they was young, they was small, you know what I mean? Everybody, they just lost a powerhouse who just only lost one game. So, you know, and the crazy part is the first time we played them in the first quarter, the game was close. You know what I mean? Then my man Jamal Hilton was like, they ain't shit. Y'all ain't shit. And everybody looked at him like, oh, word? And that second quarter, like I said, we had some young cats that was tough. Keith and them went on a run that was crazy. I'm talking about like everybody that was on the court was like hitting threes, getting dunks, and that just did it, man. You know what I mean? And then it was, you know, it was a little tension between the two coaches. So, you know, that played a part in it too, because
oh yeah.
He just let us go.
Yeah, I'm sure that them two done had, you know, on and off the court, this the rivalry amongst them two. So I'm sure he didn't mind, putting it on him.
Nah, he didn't. Basically, you know, I'm gonna keep it with you. He didn't. He was just sitting back enjoying the show. You know what I mean? Because it was, like I said, they was, they was young, man. And like I said, they ain't had no size and nothing like that. You know, they had a lot of freshmen and sophomores or whatever, but you know, it was like up to us. And you know, he don't take no prisoners because they ain't got no team. Shit, they just beat us 3 times last year. You know what I mean? So that's just what it was.
Mm. So
no, and we played them 3 times. Yeah.
And the third time, was that like in the counties or something?
That was the third time. Yeah, that was Mr. Tynes' like 250th win. And you know, the game was at Bloomfield, you know what I mean? And it was another, I think I'll be honest with you, I think we beat him by like 50 or something like that. But you know, he kind of called off the dogs a little bit that game, but you know, he still was smiling, and we didn't know until after the game that was like his 250th win. So that made it a little sweeter because we got him, a milestone victory. So, you know, but yeah, it was crazy that year. For, there still was some of my guys over there. You know what I mean? But you know, I had to do what I had to do. We had to do what we had to do.
Business is business, man.
It ain't personal.
Nah.
It wasn't what.
Now you mentioned how you play Orange, and then if you could recall the rest of that county run y'all had.
Yeah, I think Orange was the first game actually at Bloomfield. Then we played who was next? I think it was North Tech at Essex County. That was a hell of a game. You know, that's another game we was kind of struggling. And, my mind was all messed up because I had this young cat just coming at me. Mr. Tariq Goodman was like, he was a sophomore. And I didn't know who he was before that game. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like, now, you could pull up anybody on the internet or whatever, but you still would hear the buzz. But he had just transferred into North Tech. But yo, that was one of the biggest headaches I had in the game. That dude was
Hey,
nonstop, and I'm talking about
you ain't the only one, man. You ain't the only.
he was coming, you know what I mean? So, but we wound up winning because, like I said, we was deep. Derrick Johnson came off the bench and went nuts that game. So he basically, willed us to the win because he had a real good game that game. And then after that, we played a
Hold up
seat
before
called
that.
Prep.
Before the prep game, with North Tech here, I know you had another orange guy, even a little linkage to Mr. Gary, correct?
And that was my man, Mr. Gary, because he coached my brother.
Mhm.
And it's crazy because after I had committed to going to Scott, he heard about it, and I seen him. It might have been that championship game with Orange and Shabazz. He pulled me to the side. I basically was sitting in the stands with him. We was talking at the game. He was like, "Yo, man, I got room for you. Scott ain't your only option." But I had already committed to where I wanted to go in my mind. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have felt right just saying, "Nah, I ain't going there. I'm going here." You know what I mean? Then I ain't
Man,
want to catch the
imagine,
21
imagine,
to 80.
imagine you and Tariq. Ooh.
Yo, life would have been a lot easier. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I never played point guard until I got to Scott. Like all my years at Orange, I was either on the wing. Sometimes I would have to go down low or whatever. I never had the ball in my hands, like unless I was getting the ball to go score or make a play or something. But it would have been. I think it would have been life would have been a lot easier because that cat, man, he was something special.
Nah, Reek is ill, man. Nah, Reek is ill, man. So you get Seton Hall Prep. You said next go around this county run here. How was that? I mean, I know they had the Mike Shannons and those guys,
That
Iris.
was that was my introduction to Ira because I didn't know who he was, but he was like maybe a sophomore, and he was giving up buckets. You know what I mean? He ain't go crazy and had like a 30-point game now, but he was young and you could see that this cat was gonna be good, man. Real good. So yeah, we wound up beating them. We beat them maybe by about 10 or 11. And after the next game was the Shabazz game in the championship
They
because I think
got back then. They probably had like a pro lineup as far as height.
you got Ease Malik. Malik Cox was the smallest person on the floor. Tut was his two guard. Dow Tutler was about 6'7". Then you got I think my man name was Rock. They called him Rocco. He was about 6'4". Then you got Eric Wing. I think he was a junior. Then you got Mitchell Foster. He like 6'10". And I'm like, but we beat them in the regular season. We played them at Scott, and that was a good game. Went to overtime, packed house and everything. And it's crazy because I almost made us lose that game. You know what I mean? I took I'm talking about a deep shot like in front of our bench and missed. They come down, Ease pull up, he missed it. Somebody tipped the ball and it was bouncing on the rim. I'm looking up at the rim like it fell off. Then time expired. But you talk about a long walk back to that bench, yo. Because this time's going looking at nobody but me, yo, and he let me have it. You know what I mean? I'm talking about I ain't going front. He let me have it. So then we went to overtime. I had a pretty good overtime. I think I had like 7, 8 points of overtime, but Ray and Haas connected on like a 3-point play, and it was over from there. You know what I mean? And it just so happens, big man Mitchell Foster, he fouled out, and Tut didn't play that game. So now we coming into the championship. They got Tut. They feel like they at full strength.
And you playing in Newark.
Yeah, and we playing at the county. They was Shabazz was deep in the building, but Scott was deep in the building too because our fans our supporters followed us. And it was just like the gym was crazy, man. That was a good game too. And I think we wound up winning by like 11, if I'm not mistaken. And that was a championship game. So that was a good game, though.
Then he got these legendary coaches, Coach Tynes and Coach Grimsley. I mean, a lot of stuff going on that day.
Yeah, that's where it started at, because, we would read the papers and stuff. And I never seen Lou Grimsley play, but I heard, from the older cats how nice he was. And, Coach Tynes was nice too. And, like I said, they had a good record. I don't think they lost that many games. You know what I mean? We might have been like at that point, we might have been their only loss. And then, like I said, we had 2 losses, but after we lost to Essex Catholic, we went on a run. I'm talking about a serious run. And we got to that game and it was just like business as usual. You know what I mean? And we handled our business and, came out on top. But it wasn't no easy game. Trust me. That was tough.
Now, even with that, I mean, now you guys were y'all the last. I mean, I know this East Orange High and Essex was still hanging around as far as schools from East Orange here, but were y'all like the last school from East Orange to win the county to this day?
34 years. 34 years. That 89 team was the last team to bring the championship back to East Orange. So, we still hang our hats on that, because that was something big. I mean, we just won our backyard, against some good competition. So, we felt good about that. I mean, we felt good going into the States about beating them in the championship. But, like I said, it was a good game, man. Packed house, legendary coaches, E's got his reputation, you know what I mean? Like I knew of him, you know what I mean? But we were, like I said, we was a team, man. It was like, we was a well-oiled machine when we played together. And that was one of the games, like we just stuck together and stayed down, because it was going back and forth for a while. Then the third quarter, we came out and just went on a run, like a 10-0 run. And that was it from there. They struggled to get back in the game, but like I said, it was a tough game though.
Yeah. Y'all went out celebrating that day, or I mean, go home watch it on TV3, or what y'all had going on?
Nah, we stayed because like our little brothers was playing in the championship of the JV tournament, and I believe they was playing North Tech, and it was crazy because before the game started, I think it was Keith and maybe Cecil or Jermaine. They couldn't play like the first half, and they was down big. But when them cats got in the game, different story. They came back, and I believe I don't think they lost the game that whole year. So it was like we had 2 championships in one day, you know what I mean, from basically the same team. So, that's what they just supported our little brothers, man. And they went out and did their thing.
Yeah.
Then later on, we went home and watched TV3,
Oh yeah. What happened in the States? So I know you said y'all win this, y'all gelling, y'all done gel, y'all capture this, and I gotta get ready for the States. I mean, how far y'all go?
We lost in the second round in Phillipsburg. First game we played Weekway. Another crazy game.
Well, Marcus played, right?
Marcus, Jim. I think the other dude name was Marquise or Marcus. They had 2 of them that their names were similar, and that was another tough game. But we wound up pulling it out, because we all, like I said, when we played together, it was basically no stopping us. You know what I mean? So we beat them. Now a couple of days later, here come Phillipsburg. You know what I mean? We lost to them, and everybody tried to blame it on one shot that was taken at the end of the game, but thinking back on it, they was in our heads from when we was in school. They call out to the principal, Miss Nichols, talking about they bringing 8 bus loads of people. Could our gym hold all these people and all this other stuff? So now it's like code red. You know what I mean? Basically, she almost shut the school down. You got the football players in the auditorium making signs and banners and stuff, and she giving out tickets to us to make sure our people get in the game. You know what I mean? There wouldn't be no problems, so we could have our support system. And that wasn't what we normally did. You don't understand what I'm saying? We basically left school early because she said it was cool. And, they was in our heads, man. Then they get to the game. They want to use the basket. We normally warm up at first. And you understand what I'm saying? It was a mind thing. And we was more focused on, like, we talking shit. We still gonna bust y'all ass or whatever. And they lining up at half court watching us warm up and stuff. And it's like, Mr. Tyne seeing all that. He was like, yo, relax, man. Let's just go out and do what we do. And that was a tough game because I think we was up 3 with like 50 seconds left. And then we came down, and instead of holding the ball, we went, we just playing. We missed a shot. They came down. This cat, I don't know his name, but this cat had like 6, 7 threes that game. Some white cat, you know what I mean? And after he came down and hit that 3, tied the game up, we ain't scored no more after that. You know what I mean? It was like, dang, because after he scored, we came rushing down, and we came down on offense. They called the charge. So it was crazy. You know what I mean? It was like I said, it was mental. They was in our heads from like 3rd period. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's how that ended, man.
Yeah, and even with that said, man, during that time, I mean, again, I don't know how it was, but how was it for you and the rest of the team, as far as, especially the seniors, as far as wanting to continue on playing at the college level? How was that for you? I mean, because again, you figure season, this is February, probably March, you're done. So like, were you thinking about moving on, playing, in college at some point?
Oh, absolutely. And, Mr. Tynes was a big part of that, with everybody. He wanted to make sure that, we played on the next level, whether it was, no matter where it was at. And, we had schools, local schools recruiting us. Like, I think D-Bob went to somewhere up in Massachusetts, Springfield College. Ray wound up going to Montclair. Haas went to Bloomfield. And I wound up going to Essex County to play with Mr. Hill. You know what I mean? It was different because, I ain't know nothing about recruiting. You know what I mean? My brother, like I said, he didn't go through the recruiting process at the high school. He went and graduated down south. So he was gone. And then he went in the Army. So it was like, none of us knew nothing about it. That's why Mr. Tynes was trying to play a big part, make sure we got into a school to play ball. So I just wound up going to Essex County, which wasn't a mistake, but I should have went somewhere else. You understand what I'm saying? Because I got down there, I wasn't getting much playing time, but it wasn't nobody's fault but mine because I wasn't working like I should have been. You know what I mean? I wasn't focused like I should have been. You understand what I mean? So, because I could have went to Bloomfield with Haas. I don't know if you remember Scott Adebato. He went to West Arm. Hey, he was the assistant coach at Uppsala. He wanted a few of us to come there and play. He was at all our games. He was heavy on the recruiting trail. But I'm, that young mindset. I'm like, man, I just went to high school around the corner from the school, man. I need to get away somewhere.
Literally, yeah.
It wasn't like out of state schools was checking us. You know what I mean? A lot of people stayed away from me because of that big ass brace. You know what I mean? So I wound up going there. Then I left there and wound up going to St. Paul's down in Lawrenceville, Virginia. I played there half a year because another knee injury, bro. You know what I mean? I walked into a fortunate situation because like 2 of the guards was ineligible. And so I was coming off the bench. I was getting a little time. You know what I mean? I was contributing. But then right before the CIAA tournament, I got hurt in practice. And it was crazy because the cat that I would used to like come in for, I think his name's Sean Bell. He was from Virginia. He got hurt in the in the CIAA tournament. He tore his ACL. Finally reconstruct my knee. But at this point, I'm like, man, the hell with basketball. I'm tired of getting hurt. You know what I mean? Missing time. But you know, we went through the rehab process together, and that was crazy. You know what I mean? Because that was like what, 90, 91? And you know, ACLs wasn't common as they are now. You know, it was like a big surgery. I got screws in my knees and my knee. You know what I mean? So that was tough. That was because I was just ready to say the hell with.
I'm gonna hold that one thought in that whole situation, but I know we kind of brushed over somebody's name. You know, Cleo Hill, Mr. Hill. You know, though your time was that one season, man. Like, how was it? I mean, again, it don't get no better than that. I mean, you go from Coach Tynes to Coach Hill, like playing, just being around him. I mean, again, did you know about him when you got there, or was it later on you learned a whole bunch of stuff about him?
Before I got there, you know, he was a legend, man. He like, you know, I had some like I always had older cats around me. You understand what I'm saying? I would talk to them, and they was like, yo, he was the next best thing. But then, you know, he got blackballed or whatever. They told me the story. He was coming out giving out buckets even when he got drafted. I think he got drafted by like St. Louis. That was the Hawks at the time. And they had the star, you know what I mean? But Star was a white guy. And, you know, back then, I think that was the 60s or whatever. He didn't care about no star. You know, he wanted to show what he can do. And they said he was doing it, but he didn't want to, you know, fall in line. So, you know, but I learned a lot from Mr. Hill. And even at his age, coaching us then, Mr. Hill used to get out there in hard shoes and challenge Joker shots, and you know what I mean? And you know, he basically he liked basic basketball. You understand what I'm saying? Ain't none of that. Why? Because he would say to me, why would you throw a behind the back pass when you could have threw a bounce pass and got the same results? So, you know, that was a learning process too. Because, you know, each different. So, you know, you gotta conform to that level. But yeah, that was a.
Yeah, no, I was just curious. And then I know even back with the college piece again, you get injured again, and it's kind of like, all right, did you know what you wanted to do with the rest of your life?
Hell no.
Yeah.
It was like now, you know, because I ain't finished college, so it ain't like I got a degree. So now and on top of that, you know, my oldest daughter was on her way here. You know what I mean? Because I met her mother when I was in St. Paul, so it was like, you know, you got to take care of this baby. You know what I mean? Now it's about finding a job. That's why I came home, found a job, was working at like Tops Appliances somewhere. And, you know, that's what it was. That's what the process was after that. You know what I mean? Getting a job. I didn't think about going back to school because I knew if I went back to school, I was going to want to play, and I really ain't want to play no more. But I still played in like summer leagues and stuff like that. You know, it wasn't nothing heavy, but I still played a little bit.
Yeah, how was it just even early on being a father? How was that whole transition? I mean, we don't get manuals for those for fatherhood. Like, how was it for you?
That was another learning process. You know what I mean? You know, I had people like, you know, telling me, you know, advising me, I should say, like, cause she grew up in Maryland because her mother was from Maryland. I'm in Jersey, you know what I mean? But so I would have to make the trip back and forth to Maryland. You know, they would come up here, whatever. But it was tough, man. It was tough because, you know, I ain't had no money. Shit. You know what I mean? I was working job. I mean, I ain't had no big bills either, but it was tough, man. But, you know, I learned on the way, and, you know, I got better as time went on. Like I tell my oldest daughter all the time, I apologize to her because, you know, you had to suffer through my learning process. But, you know, everything is cool now, you know, because I got four altogether, three girls, one boy. You know, the oldest one, she doing her thing. She worked for the government, you know, got her own crib. She got a 12-year-old son. Well, he about to be 12 in November. That, you know, remember the name Keyshawn James, because he played football and he, like, I'll be putting his videos up on Facebook, man. He doing his thing. You know what I mean? After that, you know, I got married. I had two by my wife, but before I had a son also. So my 22-year-old daughter, she doing her thing. She a supervisor at her job. You know what I mean? My son, he tried to play basketball, but like when he didn't make the team his sophomore year, you know, these kids ain't like us. You know what I mean? It took all the fight out of him. He was like, the hell with basketball. And he made himself into a volleyball player. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about he did his thing. So, you know, but he also lost a year because of COVID. Like a COVID year. And, you know, he lost that year. That was supposed to be like his breakout year. But, you know, I had a conversation with his coach and he assured me like, yo, I understand where you're coming from because I just wanted him to go to school just to get out of East Orange. You know what I mean? So he wound up getting a partial scholarship at Rosemont College in PA. But then he got up there and like the AD left. They fired the coach because he wouldn't get vaccinated. Now all of a sudden they throw a team together. And he was like, man, Dad, I ain't playing up there, man. I'm like, and I'm trying to gas him up like, yo, just go out there and get to work. So, you know, when everything get together next year, you'll be all right. He was like, nah, I'm good. Then he wound up picking up a lacrosse stick, made himself into a lacrosse player. You know what I mean? So that was good. He's still on the team and everything. And then I got my baby girl. She about to graduate, but you know she's an A student doing her thing. So you know what I mean. That's my lineage. You know what I mean?
And I'm sure it's one way or another they keep you young.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
They always call me old man now, but you know they don't know like the story. You know, they probably gonna watch this and be like, wow, I ain't know that. You know what I mean? My son, he would see people like he would meet people that knew me, but they didn't know that was my son. And they would see us together and they'd be like, yo, your father would tell you about him playing basketball? Cause I never mentioned that to him. Cause I wanted him to be his own player. You know, I wanted him to develop his own thing. You know what I mean? I wanted him to be known as Ahmad, not Gerard's son. You know what I mean? So, you know, I never really talked about it. You know what I mean? But they knew I played because they find old posters and pictures and stuff like that. Like, you know, my grandson be bugging because he see the pictures. He was like, y'all ain't had color pictures back then? There's a lot of I'd be like, yo, go ahead, man. So, you know, they call me the old man, but you know, we close, man. And they even closer, you know, that sibling, they stick together. So, you know, that give me a lot of joy, man.
No, which you should, which you definitely should here. But this whole basketball and just in general here, what has it given you that sticks with you to this day?
The teamwork, you know what I mean? The being able to deal with the different personalities. Because, you know, that's one thing I learned about playing point guard. You know what I mean? You gotta cater to different personalities, you know what I mean? Because somebody always think they open or they feel like if I take a shot, they should have had that shot. And, you know, you got to keep the big men happy all the time. So, you know, just being able to deal with different personalities and, you know, because in the working world, you if you want to succeed, sometimes you got to be a team player. You know what I mean? So all that, I carried all that with me, man. It helped me out a lot.
Nah. I see you got the LMF shirt on here. Well, let's talk about that. What you got going on?
This is I got a cigar shop in Linden, you know. I'm sitting in the lounge now, but I got a retail part and the lounge part. You know what I mean? So it started with, you know, me and my cousin had opened up a shop in South Orange, but you know, that the partnership ain't work out. So, you know, I just decided to do my own thing. And I named it after my mom's, you know, that LMF is her initials, Lila Mae Fryer. So, you know, that was my opportunity to honor her. Because like I said, she was the first hustler I ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? She working 2 jobs, day and night. She keeping the roof over her head. She still make time to come to my games. She still made time for herself to go bowling and stuff like that. So, you know, this just my way to honor her. You know what I mean? Keep her name alive.
No, that's solid, man. And I'm sure, you know, had the who's come through.
Mm. My guys always support me, man. You know, even Coach Tynes come through, you know, especially if I'm having something, you know what I mean? We done had Scott reunions here for our class. Like Mr. Tynes tell us all the time, you know, we one of the closest teams like that he's ever coached. You understand what I'm saying? Because we, like I said, we was always together. We was always doing stuff. You know what I mean? So I done had a few legends come through here and support, you know, sit down and chop it up.
Nah, it's
You know,
only right. It's
yeah.
only right. It's only right here. You know, on the back end here, man. You mind if I throw you on the spot a little bit, man? Like some random, not so random questions here.
Get to it. You know what I
Nah.
mean?
Okay, no, definitely, man. When driving in the whip, man, you prefer the Parkway or the Turnpike?
I gotta do the turnpike, man. The parkway always backed up.
Mm.
So I can't get on the parkway until you know you get down to a certain exit, like 100 or something like that. So I'm always on the turnpike. You know what I mean?
Great Adventure Action Park.
I gotta say Great Adventure because I ain't never been to Action Park, yo.
Okay, okay,
Never
okay.
went to. Anytime we went to amusement park, it was always Great Adventure.
Mm. British Walkers or Bally's?
I got to say British Walkers because I had you know a pair of British Walkers, so I got to say Brits.
All right. Dr. J's or Universal?
Damn, I got to say Dr. J's because I got you know my first pair of Dunks came from Dr. J's, so you know Universal. I still Universal because Universal had everything, but Dr. J's because I've always been like the sneaker cat.
What color were the Dunks?
Orange and white.
Yeah.
Crazy because you know I got them. Miss Gray, she was the health and gym teacher in Orange. So, you know, we used to go back and forth, friendly, going back and forth. You know, she would tell you, think you good and all that stuff. And one day I told her, I said, yo, come to the game tonight. I'm going to get 30 in the JV game tonight. She was like, you ain't got that in you. So, you know, it's just one of them nights. And I basically on some real, I wasn't even thinking about, because we had a bet. She said, you get 30, I'll buy you some sneakers. I was like, I bet. But it was just one of them nights. And I wound up getting 29 because I missed a foul shot at the end, which could have gave me the 30. But she still honored the bet and bought me the sneakers. So, you know, me and my brother, he took me down to Dr. J's. And that's when the Dunks first came out. Because I've always been a Syracuse fan anyway. Pearl Washington was a to me. You hear me? He was a god to me. You know, they wore the orange and white Dunks. And plus I was still at Orange at the time. So I grabbed them. And that was my freshman year. So I was sitting on a varsity bench. And that's when the ECT was like at Bloomfield. And you know, you come out with them joints, everybody looking like, yo, you caught that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like always been my favorite sneaker from that point on.
Nah, and it's kind of nice to see how they resurfaced. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Definitely.
Now it's interesting you mentioned the orange and white ones. Scott with the red. I used to like the red and gray joints too. I don't know if they had those rock those as a team or but I always like that gray. I don't know if y'all call it scarlet. I don't know if y'all getting sophisticated with the red, but with the red and gray with Scott, I always like them colors.
Yeah, we that's another thing. That's another thing I kind of sold my mother on going to Scott. I'm like, Mom, you ain't got to buy me no sneakers. They give us sneakers and everything. But like my junior year, I think we wore the Air Force Twos, like the Barclays.
Barclays, okay.
I forgot my senior year what the name of those joints was. We had some white on white joints, but yeah, it was always about the dunks though.
Mm. Mm.
No,
How about the nightlife for yours? Peppermint or Gregory's?
I got to say both.
Okay.
It was nice when we would go out. We couldn't get into the Peppermint; it was so packed. So we go right across the street to Greg's and still had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I was Crenshaw back in the day because you can go from the Peppermint, it'd be crazy outside. You go to Greg's, you know what I mean? You might even go into Harmony right there on the corner. You know what I mean? Then you go down a little further, you got Shadows down there
Yeah.
outside, across the street from the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to call that Crenshaw back in the day.
With that being said, East Orange or Orange High?
Both Scott or Orange High.
I said my bad. Scott.
Got to say both because they played a big part. You know what I mean? Like I said, I came up knowing that Orange was going to be where I was going to be at. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Then the situation happened. I went to Scott, and I'm fortunate to have my brothers to this day from both schools. You know what I mean? Because like I said, they come out here like it's been nice with it's a bunch of Scott and Orange cats in here. It ain't nothing but love. We watching games, we talking shit, we reminiscing. You know what I mean? I just went down to Willingboro and was chilling with my brother John Robinson, at the Jazz Fest. So, we still got them relationships, you know what I mean? 30 something years later, you know what I mean?
Nah, nothing like it, man. Nothing like it.
Nothing. And them nights be epic, yo. Them nights be epic for real. And so, and it's all love. So, I enjoy that a lot, man.
Nah, definitely. I know you talked about him a lot here, but Coach Tynes, what has he meant to you?
That's my guy, man, forever. Because like I said, I guess the statute of limitations is up. So, when we would leave practice or, games or whatever, I would ride home with him because he still lived in Orange. So, them conversations in that car going home, it wasn't always bad. It was 90% basketball. But if I had a problem with something or, he would see something, we would chop it up. You know what I mean? He always gave me good advice, life, especially basketball. You know what I mean? Because like I said, that was my first time. He played the point. So, he would tell me stuff like, yo, I know you'd be seeing somebody open, but they ain't always open. You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to thread that needle. You know what I mean? Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But, he would just chop it up with me. Even after that, you know what I mean? Like I said, he comes out here, you know what I mean? And cool out with us. Even like when I was going out, I would see him out and, he don't let you go in your pocket. He always got to buy the drinks or whatever. He just wants to sit there, chop it up, and see what's going on with us. You know what I mean? So he's always gonna be my guy, man. It's always been like good to me. You know what I mean? And everybody else that played for him could say the same thing.
Yeah. And speaking of playing, best game you ever played in your life?
I got two of them. It's crazy. When I was in the fourth grade, playing with the like sixth graders. That was the first time I ever scored 20 points, and it's crazy because Pat Hammond was coaching the team we was playing. That's Darren Hammond's older sister. So later on, I asked her one time, "Hey Pat, what's going on, man? Why you act like we got a problem?" She was like, "You messed up my undefeated season," because we beat her team that day. And they was scraping jokers, but I think it was me, John, my man Scott Sneed. Who else was on that team? I can't remember everybody else on that team, but it was a good day, you know what I mean? And then the second game was like that game where I won the bet from Miss Gray because I was just on fire that game. I ain't missed many shots. I don't know what my stats, but I remember I had them 29 though. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because even after that, old boy felt some type of way because he found out about the bet, and he felt some type of way, and I'm like, well, what's the problem? I didn't see a problem in it. You know what I mean? It was just between me and her, and it ain't like I was just going crazy, freezing people. I got that within the offense. You know what I mean? Just playing. I just happened to be hot that game.
Yeah. Playground wise, I know you've been on a bunch of them. Favorite playground to play at?
Colgate is number one.
Yeah.
I got to say the Friendship House because Friendship House helped me develop too. You know what I mean? Like we had cats from Orange that was coaching us, like Derek Mills and Mike Moore and them cats. And they seen not just me, but they seen a bunch of us that that had futures. You know what I mean? So they took their time out. They was volunteers. They wouldn't get paid for that stuff. You know what I mean? But they took the time out. Even Magic, I think that's Mike's brother-in-law. Mm-hmm. He was one of my coaches. So, that and of course, the Salvos, it was always good runs there, Ross Sessions, those are mainly the four places that, I played a lot at.
I know whether it's the point or the two here, man, just anybody you could just think of. I mean, you have off nights here, somebody that just gave it to you, man. Like he's like, is anybody that just come to mind? Like whether it was organized or pickup, it was just one of them not so great nights at the office.
That damn Tariq Goodman.
Tariq, yeah.
I'm telling you, man, he went nuts there, and I was responsible. As a team responsible for him, but I had to guard him. And dog, he was coming at me, bro. You know what I mean? I'm talking about non-stop. I don't even think he went out the game. You know what I mean? I had to get subbed out. You know what I mean? It was just crazy, man. And that's my man to this day. When I see him, I don't see him much, but when we see each other, it's all love. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Best team you ever been on?
No question, that '89 championship team. My guys, man. We bought the ring home for the backyard. You know what I mean? It's one thing to win the state tournament because you one of the best in the state, but back then, you had to take care of your backyard first. And us doing that as a team, man, that was like I said, that was one of the closest teams I ever been on. You know what I mean? Like all them cats, my moms was their moms was, my mom. So, it's like we spent the night at each other's houses, and we know each other's families from all the brothers and everything, man. You know what I mean? So that was a special team to me.
Game you like to have back?
That damn Phillipsburg game. That's the only one. I could deal with losing the Patterson East Side and Essex Catholic because that was a rivalry. We ain't lose to no bums, you know what I mean? And Phillipsburg wasn't a bum team. It's just the way we lost. Like I said, it was more mental than anything. And we should have beat them, you know what I mean? But then I ain't feel bad because they went to Cranford and beat Shabazz after they beat us. So, you know what I mean? But that game, I need that game back, man. We need to strap up now with D braces and the icy hots and everything to get that going.
Yeah, your all-time starting five at Scott. Your Scott all-time starting five.
I got to go with the cats that I seen. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I was only there 2 years, but I seen Troy Webster at a young age. Troy was tough. I got to say Marquise, Rob James, rest in peace. Derek Canada, you know what I mean? And I got to say my little brother Keith, man, he did his shit. You know what I mean?
He's tough. Yeah.
years. You know what I mean? He did his thing. So, that's basically it. If I had the six man, I'd probably put somebody like Ray. Because Ray wasn't 6'7", 6'8", but Ray controlled the backboards. You know what I mean? I think I think he made all county
Yeah,
our senior year.
he was first team.
Yeah, and he was averaging that's in high school. He averaged it he led the county. I don't know where he was at in the state, but Ray was getting 14, 15 boards a game, man. You know what I mean? And he throw that outlet because we basically ran a fast break. You know what I mean? If we was in the half court, we ran like motion or flex or something like that. But Ray get that ball, it's an outlet, we gone. You know what I mean? Then I got my choice, either D-Bob on my left or Corey on my right or Haas coming down the middle, you know what I mean? So definitely.
I'm a part B this question. Your orange all time starting five.
Again, like, cats I seen. I didn't see Mr. Tynes playing high school, but you know, his legend was unreal, you know what I mean? Because I heard the stories, I heard the games, and him doing this thing with that big afro, killing Joker. So like him, I seen Cleo. Cleo was special too. Cleo Hill. Um, Definitely Reg.
Yeah.
Definitely, you know what I mean? And as far as guards, you got like Rob Cole, Mike, John. I know it's about 6 or 7 that are named already, but as I seen, I played with, and that's I go to bat with them any day, either squad. You know what I mean?
Now, during your time, best player you've seen in the area or the state during your time. It don't even have to be from Essex County. Who comes to mind?
It's a few jokers, man.
Yeah.
Essex County has so much talent, dog. And I mean, like, it was errors, you know what I mean? But I seen Kelly Tripucka, man.
Yeah.
That was different at a young age. That was different. Cause I never forget, like I said, I was always at the games. They was playing, my brother was playing Bloomfield. Orange was playing Bloomfield in Seton Hall at Walsh Gym. Everybody warming up. This dude got a suit on doing the interview before the game. And I didn't know till later on, like my brother was talking shit, you better go warm up, blah, 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 blah. Dog, he got dressed, came out right before the game started. He hit that first deep baseline shot. And I never forget, it was, I don't know who it was that was sitting there, but they was like, Orange is in trouble. And I think that game, he might have had about 40, you know what I mean? And another cat that I seen, Clyde Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Brother, they had the Big Ten conference back there. It was like, I think North had the City League, but up our way, it was like the Big Ten, Orange, East Orange, Scott.
Right. Bloomfields, yeah.
Elville, I want to say Nutley. I don't remember all 10 teams, but I remember like those teams I seen, you know what I mean? But it's just crazy. I can't, that's Kelly Tripucka but I can't just name like one joker, you know what I mean? Because even Rob Cole, I watched him.
Yeah.
Crazy. You hear me? Because like I said, I was still going to the games then, you know what I mean? And he was the first person I seen throw an alley-oop to a cat that was like maybe 6 feet, 6'1", but he jumped out the gym. His name was Hubert Mitchell. You know what I mean? And it's so many cats, man. Orange had a lot of talent. You know what I mean? It's cats that didn't even play that should have played. You know what I mean? That could have went for Orange. Like I didn't know a lot about the North schools back then. I mean, I just heard, from the older heads, what was going on. But yeah, that's
How about doing your 4 years? Is it somebody that just comes to mind? It even got to be from Essex Catholic. I mean, Essex County, excuse me. Like just somebody that just like, yeah, he did it.
when I seen Kevin Walls play, bro.
Yeah.
That was because like I go back to that Pony Classic. They played first. I think they played the team from like Brooklyn or somewhere. And this cat put up 61 points in Orange High Gym.
Mm.
And I'm talking about like he was shooting from Central Ave. I mean, and the next game was Orange and Scott, then the championship was Camden and Scott. Even that game, he put up like 50, 55.
Mm.
And he wasn't that big, you know what I mean? But he was a jump shot. He ain't missed many of them. But he was, and wasn't no three back then. You know what I mean? The three ain't come into what, 88? And he was, man, he was different.
Yeah.
Him, DeJuan Wagner's another cat that I seen that was like different.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Somebody who should have made it. However you define made it.
I'm gonna say I got a few cats, man. It ain't just one, but like Mike Clay was tough.
Mike Clay. I remember Mike.
Tough. I mean, Mike had it, he can handle, he can shoot, his vision was crazy. You know what I mean? Him, definitely Reg.
Yeah.
I thought Reg was gonna be, get his name called after his 4 years at Rutgers, but he suffered an injury, and he said something to me one day on Facebook, like, yo, because I was, talking about his documentary. I'm like, yo, they should have been did this. He was like, yo, bro, don't get it twisted. I seen you too. We similar, we both had injuries that derailed our career. You know what I mean? So definitely Reg, and like I had a nephew that played at Roselle, Mike, named after my brother. He should have made, but like I said, again, it's mental. You know what I mean? And he wasn't mature back then, but he could have made it. And I got to put myself in there, bro.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I ain't trying to toot my own horn, but
Not at all.
I got to put myself in there.
Yeah.
That's like pretty much who I could think of, because it's Mike's nephew. His name was Bean. I think Mike Boyd mentioned Bean had a grown man game at a young age. So, for whatever reason, him and Mike ain't never played, but it was tough, man. Definitely tough.
Yeah. I know you mentioned yourself here. Let me ask you this. Best part about being you?
Just always being me, man. I don't switch up on nobody. You know what I mean? I'm always me. I'm always me with the jokes, and just being able to be a people person. You know what I mean? Just being me, man. That's it. You know what I mean? Just being the husband and father that I am. You know what I mean? Being good to the people around me. Family. You know what I mean? Because that's big to me. You know what I mean? Not just my immediate family. I'm talking about like, cousins and aunts and uncles. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I know you talked about your kids earlier. Let me ask you this. So, best part about being a husband?
Just knowing that I got people around me that, they don't care what I do, as long as I'm here. You know what I mean? They got my back 100%. You know what I mean? It's genuine love and support. You know what I mean? So just going home, seeing them. You know what I mean? Because I'm a girl dad. I got one son. The rest of them is girls. You know how them girls are with their fathers.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't suggest nobody saying nothing too bad about me, around them, because they gonna let you have it. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's it, man. Just having that genuine love, and going home, and just being surrounded by it. Because like I said, we close, man. You know what I mean? And them being siblings, they even closer. So you know that's the best part about it. And then watching them grow into who they are. You know what I mean? Because like I used to always tell them, I'm the fun dad until you do some crazy stuff in school. Now I'm psycho number one because I took my education for granted. So I'd be damned if I let them do it. You know what I mean? And all of them, you know, all of them basically did their thing in high school. You know what I mean? My youngest daughter, if she ain't on the honor roll, she about to have a panic attack. So that's watching them come into their own, man. That's the best part about it.
Yeah.
I got my wife. She got my back 100%. Been down with me since we've been together off and on. Everybody ain't perfect. We had breakups, but we've been together since '97. You know what I mean? So that's the best part about it.
Yeah. Book on your life. What would you call it?
The evolution of G.
Yeah.
Because shit could have went way left. I ain't even gonna lie to you. You know what I mean? And I think being the person I am and having the support that I had, and like I said, my wife being there for me through thick and thin, you know what I mean? And helping me evolve into a man. You know what I mean? My kids looking out for me, you know what I mean? And because it was a time where I wasn't around. I did some time one time, wasn't no crazy years or nothing, but just knowing that time away from them, that made me realize where I'm supposed to be, because they wasn't the same while I was gone. You know what I mean? They ain't know where I was at. They ain't find out 2 years later where I was at. Cause, I told them, I talked to them. Because like I said, we close, we talk. But at the time, they, when I was gone, they didn't know. You know what I mean? But just knowing I need to be home.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be accessible, because now it's like, they grown, they still call me, like even my oldest daughter, you know what I mean? She don't call me asking me for nothing. She just called me, what's up, old man? You know what I mean? We chop it up for about 2 hours, you know what I mean? I know when I see her calling, I got to have a free hour, So that's it right there.
Yeah. Then at this point in your life here, you know what I mean, a whole lot more living to do. But I got this question as far as this Gerard at this moment in your life here, would you tell that 17, 18-year-old Gerard, what advice would you give him?
Stay focused, man, and work. Don't let the outside influences take control or even penetrate your life. Just stay focused on the goal at hand. You know what I mean? And just deal with the adversity that comes with it. But stay focused and stay and work, whether it's in the classroom, on the court, whatever you're doing, just stay focused and work.
Yeah. Your parents, I mean, may they rest in peace here, man. But what would they say about you?
I think right about now, they proud of the man that I turned into. Because, like I said, it was rough. You know what I mean? I was hard headed. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I mean? I wanted to, even with my brother, he thought I wasn't listening, but I just wanted to be my own man. You know what I mean? Because I grew up as Little Mike. And I used to always tell people, yo, my name's Gerard, man. You know what I mean? But, we look alike, and you know what I'm talking about? And I played ball like right behind him, or not right behind, but, behind him or whatever. But, I honestly think, like, I got family members. Like, even when I got married, one of my cousins said to me, like, yo, your mother finally resting easy now. You know what I mean? Because she was always the one worried. You know what I mean? And it's like people at the church, they see me coming to church with my kids, and they'll tell me like, "Yo, your mother really proud of you right now." So, I think they smile, especially, you know, with this all over the place. You know what I'm talking about?
That's right.
So
Mm.
I think they really proud right now.
As they should be. I mean, just sharing this little bit of time, man. I think one thing I got through this, and I think that a label, I won't even call it a label, but that personifies you is perseverance, man. Like you talk about these injuries along the way, some of these some of the hurdles you had, whether it's a little stint here and there, or whatever the case may be. You right here talking to me from your own spot. Nothing like having your own. When it's your own, you come and go as you please, man. But it's just the perseverance and everything else. And I think a lot of people will second that, especially those that know you, that are close to you here. This has been a complete honor here. Like I said, I got a wish list, and I always remembered you just being a young boy here, just loving sports and basketball, football, you name it here, just at all levels here. I was just like a diehard junkie as far as just who's who or whatever the case may be here. But seeing some guy that's strolling up the court with the brace on, but running a show on a damn good team and everything else, but come to know like we know a lot of common folks here, and I think it's just an honor to have this opportunity that you just squeezed in some time to chop it up with me. I just want to say thank you, and thank you so much for this.
And I got to thank you, man, because like I said, when Cleon called me, I was shocked. I was like, "Come on, man, stop playing." You know what I mean? But then it's like it's crazy because it's people like recently, like in between the time we did this, they asked me like, "Yo," I'm talking about people I knew all my life. Like, "Yo, what really happened at Orange, man? What made you leave?" You understand what I'm saying? Because it was rumors floating around or whatever, and I never addressed the rumors. As long as my guys, my family, they knew the real deal, so it didn't bother me. You know what I mean? But I'm honored to be here with you. Like I said, you done interviewed some legends, bro, and you doing your thing, man. You got a product, bro, that needs to be put on a national level, bro. Some real shit. Because from the first time somebody put me onto it. Matter of fact, I seen when you was posting them in the groups on
Okay,
Facebook.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I used to be like, damn. And I watched Mr. Tynes interview. I watched Satari. I ain't finished a lot of them, but I watched the Mikes, the Johns, Keith, Marquise. You know what I mean? It's a few that that's on my wish list that I gotta watch. Like a lot of these cats, I watched growing up. You know what I mean? Like I want to see Sharif interview. Eddie McNeil because he was different.
I heard.
I left him. He should have made it, dog. But he was different. I'm talking about he the first person I ever seen like throw the ball behind his back, catch it and dunk it. You know what I mean? And that lefty, man. And he had size to him, and he was a guard. You know what I mean? So, this is what you're doing, bro. You really putting together encyclopedia, Essex County sports. You know what I mean? Not just you got some football players up here, and you got dual sport. So you keep doing your thing, man. I'm gonna support however I can, man. I appreciate you, taking your time out to talk to me.
Nah, thank you, man. It's you bringing that up here. I might as well throw it out there. Maybe I do one of these at the cigar spot, man. Somehow we lay something nice up with a group of folks or something, man. That'll be ill.
Anytime, bro. Anytime. I'm talking about anytime. You're more than welcome, man. And I know the guys, they would love it. Smoke to come out here and chill with me. You know what I mean? Because people that don't, and they come out just to show support. I gotta buy a T-shirt or something. But you can anytime, bro. I'm talking about that would be dope for real. So whenever it just hit me, man, and we could put it together.
Thank you. thank you for this. And like I said, let's definitely do that. Let's definitely do that. Bring some cameras. Yeah, let's do that.
Anytime, brother. Just let me know. That's all I say. We schedule it and we'll make it happen. You know, I call the guys like, yo, and I know they're gonna come out. You know, actor here, so you know, we can do that, man. For
All
real.
right. All right, boy. Even before all of that, thank you for sharing a little bit of your walk, man. Like I said, thank you. I love to hear this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it, brother.
No doubt. We'll talk soon.
All right, brother.
No doubt. Peace. Wow. Just pausing because again, like I said, these opportunities, like there's been a few of them. I'm just so humble, just taken back by everybody's opportunity. And even for Gerard to just sit here and just chop it up. I mean, talk a little bit about his walk, what have you here, man. Nah, salute to him. Thank you for doing this here. And with that said, I'm just gonna step away. I put my hand over my heart. That means I feel you. Yeah.